Once upon a night in a lonely cottage in a faraway valley, there lived a young woman who was a witch that lived all alone, but with magical powers. Her name was Melissa. She made several different voodoo dolls by wood carving them, sanding them, painting them for a final touch. She enjoyed doing that. Ever since she was a little girl, she had been enjoying handcrafted wood-carved voodoo dolls. She was lonely, childish, and unmarried, and wanted to have a daughter of her own. And one day she would have a daughter. She also dreamed of bringing her wood-carved dolls to life. Madame Melissa was more than just a wood carver who made dolls. She had a really big secret that no one had ever known. Her really big secret was downstairs from her cottage that took her in the underground. When she entered her secretive room, her room was filled with magical potion where she practiced witchcraft. A large cabinet was stored with jars, tubes, and other containers of unused specimens, powders, liquids, and other powerful special ingredients where she started making her own potions. An antique bookshelf was filled with hard-covered spell books that tell the recipes and instructions of how to make her own magic potion and cast the spells. She had a workbench where she measured and combined certain amount of portions of secret ingredients in her jar. When she was done, she took her mixed ingredients to the cauldron to activate her potion. She started a fire beneath the cauldron and tossed her jar of ingredients into the cauldron. When she tossed her jar of ingredients into the cauldron, boom! The ingredients in the cauldron exploded and it began to boil up. The ingredients were beginning to activate when the magic spells shimmered and dazzled up. Then all of a sudden she heard a buzz coming from the alarm on the wall. That loud ongoing buzzing alert sound meant that someone was at her front door of her cottage. When Melissa heard that, she quickly scooped up all the activated ingredients from the cauldron to another empty potion bottle. Once the cauldron was emptied out, she took her new secret potion bottle with her and hurried out of her potion room. She locked the door of her potion room and dashed through the corridor. Then she rushed upstairs back to her cottage. She locked the floor door and hid her potion in the pouch of her belt. She tucked a key in her other pouch of her belt, but the key fell through the hole of the pouch and landed on the floor door. Melissa was unaware of that as she walked away. As she approached the front door to answer it, she began to act casually as if nothing happened before. As Melissa answered the front door, there stood her longtime fiancé, Damien. Damien was a warlock who could also do magic spells like her. He greeted her with a rose. She gave him a blowing kiss. Damien offered her a ride on a magical broom for their romantic night getaway. They both hopped on the magical flying broom, and the way they went. Up and high in the clear nightly sky, Melissa and Damien rode through the bursting stars as if they were flying through the galaxy. By full moon, the two lovers flew over then landed at the tallest tower of Damien's castle. In the tower, the dating couple settled down at the covered table with a red rose in a glass vase. They both had red wine and relaxed during the romantic night out. They drank and sat down by the warm fire in a scary-looking fireplace made with stones and human skulls. The lovers shared their stories about their latest witchcraft and magical spells they just had recently made. Melissa was very excited about getting married and having children, but when they talked about their marriage and the future, Melissa told Damien that she really wanted a girl as their first child. Damien scratched his head and curiously asked, "Why do you want a girl, Melissa?" Melissa thought up of a very good reason momentarily and happily told him, I want a daughter, so I will teach her to do witchcraft, spin a yarn, and wood-carved dolls, just like I do. Damien joked, like mother, like daughter. They both laughed about Damien's good sense of humor. As the delicious mist of smell spread from the kitchen, Damien remembered that something was done and ready to be served. He excused himself and told Melissa that their supper was ready. Then he walked over to the kitchen to get their supper. While Damien was at the kitchen, Melissa was up to something a little sneaky. Alone and still at the dining room table, she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small bottle of secret potion she made at home. She went over to Damien's side of the table and opened the bottle of potion. She tilted her bottle of potion over Damien's glass of wine. The secret potion began to pour into Damien's wineglass. While pouring a small amount of potion into the wine, she heard walking footsteps coming from the kitchen. It was Damien, who was walking toward the dining room table. Before Damien got even closer to the table and was still out of her sight, Melissa hid her bottle of potion in her pocket and quickly ran back to her seat. Damien returned to the table with the covered platter, while Melissa was casually seated still, as if nothing suspiciously happened behind his back. At the table, Damien and Melissa both had large bowls of egg-drop wonton soup for their romantic dinner. As they ate and drank, they continued on to talk more about the future after their proposal marriage. When it was almost time for dessert, Damien felt a little funny, as if he had too much wine to drink. Melissa became a little concerned and asked, Damien, dear, are you okay? Oh, I'm okay, honey. It was just that I had a little too much to drink, he replied with a grin. Both Damien and Melissa chuckled and giggled as if it was not a big deal. Damien got out of his seat and told her that it was time for dessert. He collected the empty soup bowls and walked back to the kitchen to get some dessert. While Melissa was once again left alone at the table, she thought that the secret potion she put in before did not take much of the effect of Damien. She decided to put more potion into Damien's wineglass. While Damien was still unaware and at the kitchen, Melissa went back to Damien's seat and poured more potion into his wineglass. When Damien once again returned to the table, Melissa sat back at her seat again as casual, as if nothing still had happened. For their dessert, both Melissa and Damien had slices of chocolate fudge mousse cake. They ate and drank more until Damien felt funnier and sicker. Melissa became more concerned about him and asked, Damien, my dear, are you okay? You look like you're drunk to me. Honey, I have a splitting headache and now am feeling very dizzy now, he replied, and then asked, Will you please take me to bed? I'm too dizzy to go there myself. Man, I have never ever been so drunk like that in my life. Of course, my dear, she said with a grin. Anything for you, Damien, my dear. Come with me and hold my hand. They left the dining room and Melissa took Damien to his bedroom. In the bedroom, while Damien was put to bed, Melissa did the best as she could to comfort him. She told him she would be right back with the medicine to cure him. Melissa left Damien's room and headed to the potion room to get the medicine. In Damien's potion room, Melissa crushed the pills in a bowl and made sure it was the correct dosage. Alone with still no one around, Melissa used the same potion and poured some into the bowl of crushed pills. When finished, she hid back her secret potion in her pocket again, took the bowl of medicine with her, and left the potion room. Melissa returned to Damien's room while Damien was still in bed and not feeling well. While he was still awake, she said to him softly, Wake up, Damien, my dear. I have medicine for you. You must drink up so you will feel all better in no time. She gave him the bowl of medicine and he began to drink it. After drinking the entire medicine, he felt relaxed and began to smile at her. She took the bowl away and asked him softly, Damien, dear, are you feeling better now? Damien opened his eyes and replied with a glee, Yes, I am feeling all better now. Thank you. Good. And Melissa? Yes, Damien, my dear? I love you, Melissa. Then Melissa smiled back at him and replied, I love you too, Damien. Kiss me good night. Melissa and Damien had their lips met together, and when their lips met, they both madly fell in love. He grabbed her hand and pulled her into his bed. Melissa lied next to Damien as they kissed some more. The witch and the warlock kissed each other until they fell asleep together.